Okay, this is week one on my final major project. Well, first before I started this, I outlined kind of what I want to do week by week, and those were as follows. So week one, I wanted to outline a concept for environment, with the environment I wanted to kind of design, and that was kind of a sci-fi, dark, grim kind of world, and it was based on off Belfast, so I would gather first-hand reference material, such as other artists' work and first-hand photos. Now let's underline that so you can just see here. Just pick a colour. Here. So that's that one here. So what I did the other day was I went out to Belfast and I took 10s, but say 40-50 photographs of around Belfast that I thought looked promising, that I could kind of redesign and mix, match and change the shapes of things. So we'll just kind of go through some of them now. This I thought was quite interesting because it had all the different levels, had the background, the things in the foreground, and I could see this being extended up in buildings in the background and things like that. Again, just kind of a view of the everyday life of Belfast. I thought I saw some potential in that. And bear in mind that all these kind of shop fronts, the names of the shops, they would all be taken away. I mean, it would be totally changed. If you saw it, you might be able to see the connection between what I'm going to do with it and the original photograph, but for all intents and purposes I'm just using this as kind of a blueprint, a skeleton to build things off. See some more photographs. And I quite like this because it looked kind of spaceshipy, like a tunnel between maybe two sections of the city, but it's retail space, so also they're going to have stuff inside it. And not funny, so that the old lady wouldn't bloody move. I think I took about 3 or 4 photos, deleted the rest of them, but she stood there for ages. So yeah, and again, see, I took it for this because I thought that was quite interesting, like a tunnel. Like a bridge between the two building blocks. I thought that could be used because maybe in the city, there's not a lot of ground room, and maybe the ground level it's not safe to walk, and maybe crime's a problem in the city, and the city have devised this way of kind of the scum live in the bottom, and anybody who's anybody never touches the ground, always walks above ground level. I also took some photos of some things that I might add into some of the paintings to kind of ground it and say that it's Belfast. For example, here the Belfast City Council logo. I think that was inside of a bin. And just some more iconic things. I thought that already looked kind of sci-fi, because what I was going for was the idea of, you kind of see it in some places, in some other cities around the world, and sometimes here as well. The old buildings, the facades are kept, but in amongst that are some new builds. Very modern. There's a lot of glass and steel work, but here on either side is the very old. Someone from the 18, whenever this was built, would recognise these buildings, but they wouldn't recognise that. So what I would do is, will be, when I come to redraw these and redesign them, keep some aspects, keep these old buildings here, just exaggerate maybe some more sci-fi features, some bridges, like I explained before. Maybe ground level isn't walkable, its crime level is up, blah blah blah. And here's a very modern looking, in my view, very abstract and pointless structure, which probably cost a hell of a lot of money in the taxpayers' wallet, but there it is. Say as well, some of the artworks that I look at, that I'm kind of taking reference from, then you'll see later, it grounds it by adding graffiti, because kids are always going to draw on things. I mean, it's just a general way of life that I find. So I took some photos of some graffiti. Maybe I could kind of overlay them onto some sides of some buildings, just to look a bit more realistic. And there again, it's an old battered door with, graffiti doesn't really, I don't know what that says. Sick. But anyway, you see it all around Belfast, and if it wasn't there, you probably would notice it. But because it's there, you don't notice it. For me, anyway. And also little signs like that: fire exit, keep clear. You take it for granted, but I think if they're added onto something future, even redesign it, maybe change the shape of it, but the basic theory, or the basic the building blocks there, you recognise it, and it's part of everyday life. I'm bumbling on here. And some more shots of everyday Belfast. More angles. And I was thinking as well, for example, look at that clock. That clock's been there for a couple 100 years or so. But look all around it. It's all this modern car right beside an old don't know what rock is made out of or stone is made out of, but it just, they wouldn't, if they built this big city, they wouldn't demolish that. They keep that. That's kind of a heritage piece. So what's to say in about 200 years that this building here you see here on the left, see the old facade, look at this is completely different than that. But to me this is cheap and nasty. This was probably built in the 60s, 70s, just threw up, probably falling apart now. This could be demolished and even newer building put in its place, but this might be kept. So things like that. Some more little things I might be able to use to overlay in my my redesign. So Belfast City tours, so maybe in the future tourism is still a big thing, so just kind of steal their graphics. And I thought here as well, I could, it's a possibility, but well, this has got everything. It's got value, it's got graphics, it's got signs for shops, it's got people in everyday life. There's the transport system. I mean, I could see that bus could be hovering, the bus could be on rails, that could be a trainway, you know, but it's got all these people. There's a guy picking fruit and all, and it's just so many ideas to ground it, opposed to this just being maybe 2 o'clock in the morning or really early in the morning with nobody there. It shows an actual living city, and you probably take ideas from that. I've seen this is the guy Sid Mead that I was talking about in Pathway. Now this is really blurry, and I know this tip cam blurs things even more, so I don't know if you'll be able to see this as I'm recording it, but this is using the kind of markers called Copic markers, and they're kind of very watery markers that I find that a lot of guys use for design, and this kind of bleeds off from my previous Pathway experiments, you could say, of perspective and the way he's used it and all. I'll come on to this later. I'll show you how I go about using it, and I'll show you where I kind of got the idea for using it. There's a guy online, Scott Robinson, I think I mentioned him in the Pathway as well, about how he uses the Copic markers to good effect. Let's see, so what's next? Just some more. I like this scene. I took this actually on a night out. I just loved it. Where this was, everything else was dark, but this was just lit up, and I just love this kind of these wee lights shining down and everything. And the photo doesn't show it, but all around the outside of the frame there, it was just all dark, and it was just this corner was lit up, and the wee Cafe Near sign, it just seemed very, very modern. And there's some more shots of it. And this was actually in the train in. I don't know why I thought I would get a good picture. Blurry as hell. It was through a train window and didn't really work. My Gotha train, I like this. I thought it looked very industrial, very promising. So there's the train. I could redesign that, blah blah blah, and just extend some of these buildings and so on. Just make it really dark and gritty, like a smelly, noisy, grimy train station. That's what I had in mind. And there's a different view of it. And once I seen that, I thought, why not do some paintings kind of to describe the transport system of this new sci-fi Belfast. So I took a photo of the main entrance of the train station. So again, with people walking about in it, just really make it realistic. So the photos aren't great. Now that I look at them, they're quite blurry, but for what I'm going to use them for, they're absolutely fine. So the entrance to the main train station itself is Central Station, Belfast. See, just a stairway, and this is just out. And I think a lot of work's done in here. I mean, I love this very glass building, 2 big structures here, and on top of a big rectangle almost. But yeah, I can see something here. Maybe extend that out and maybe push these so it's overhanging on this main roadway, so on and so forth. And just close up this shot. I actually love this building. It is quite nice. It is very modern, sci-fi looking. But that's the funny thing. I find that it looks modern as hell now, but in about 50 years I'll probably be like, what the hell were we thinking? The state of it, it's tacky, it's nasty, it's all glass, it's not being kept well, so on and so forth. Like, for example, there's a place down in Carrickfergus that's, a lot of it's been knocked down now. It's like in the old marine front, and there's a big white building, and what it looks like something of the Atlantic Wall during World War II. It looks like a beach defence, like a bunker, but it wasn't kept well, and I always remember as a kid looking at it, and it was painted white, but Carrickfergus Council in all its glory, they never kept it clean. There was moss growing up it got grey, it got nasty. It it just looked horrible. It really was nasty. I think a lot of that was because it wasn't kept. So hopefully buildings like these would be kept, and I'd say they would, because it probably cost a shitload to make. It's just a wee angle. That's kind of an idea between looking between a building. Maybe something happens here, meteor strike or a ship comes in the land and just passes by these two big buildings. So maybe these in the painting could be very, very heavily silhouetted. There's no details on them, but all the action is happening between the two. It's the photo of a rock. Some photo textures. I'll probably add this because these photos you're looking at here are going into my external hard drive for my kind of database of all reference photos and all the buildings. Yeah, I'll probably use them for this assignment, but later date if I'm doing the painting and I need to know what a skyscraper looks like, or I need a photo texture, I can always relate back to these photographs. So this will probably be going into my texture library. It's funny, when I was walking through, got off the train station, I was walking through Belfast. I think there was a convention on the front hall, and there was masses of people. Massive. I mean, I don't know if this really conveys how many people. It's quite strange for Belfast at that time of day. But they were all streaming out of this building, and in terms of painting, I could use them for anatomy. I could probably separate all these poses and faces, and cause they're all interacting, I could probably draw each individual one. But I could also use them as a photo overlay if I wanted to have, between buildings, crowds walking, and to suggest people. I think I could use that. So just some more photos of them. So I thought that, again, that itself looks very familiar. I think they have another one very similar. Let's have a look here actually. So this. Where are you? It was just as you come out of the train station there. Yeah, there you go. Design language. Snap. Well, anyway, I thought that looked quite good, quite modern sci-fi. If I was redesigning it, maybe extend it out, enlarge the part, maybe add more of them. But just to like that kind of almost medieval tower with spiral staircase going up the side. It's just more the waterfront hall. There was a big bar. I think it's been there for a while, but I just took a couple of photographs of it because just for anything else that I'm doing with like ships or technology. The pipes, just ideas for the pipes coming out and the vents, how things connect, and I don't know, I might get some use of it sometime. And this is the shot. I could probably use this for what I'm thinking, looking at it now, is the water level drops big time, or this boat's tipped on its side, and I don't know, upstream the river, the water dries out, there's a dam built. These buildings are sci-fi. This is actually maybe a motorway. This used to be the old, for example, like in Bridge Street in Belfast, I think there used to be a river back in the 1500s running through there, but it's still called Bridge Street. So this is called the Lagan. So there's a wee idea there, the Lagan motorway. So kids in the 2089s are asking, oh, why is this called the Lagan motorway? And then be people like me saying, oh, back in the day it used to be a river, pretty foul smell and condom filled river, but a river nonetheless. See some more shots of it. Now this is what I was saying about keeping old buildings. I quite like this because if you look here, these they're newer buildings than that, but look at the architecture. But the building was kept, and it just looks very strange with two big taller buildings beside it and an old two-let, quite sad actually, two-let church. Well, it looks like a church stuck in the middle. So it's kind of a little idea to kind of run by. Some more views of it. That's just a photo of a cloud, because I noticed, and I've got told off before, that I wasn't using my own photographs for doing my paintings, and one of the aspects was that I was grabbing pictures of clouds off Google, and I understand that some cases that it is quite risky because you're using someone else's work and it may cause problems later on down the line. But in my defense, 9 out of 10 times I change the photograph so much it is unrecognizable. But I also see the kind of work ethic in having my own photographs, because even if you don't have to worry about changing it beyond recognition. If you need to leave some of the original photograph there, you won't worry about stamping on anybody's toes and getting your ass sued. Okay, there's some more views there, and this kind of links in with what I was saying about the train station, but the transport system. Okay, so this is actually Laganside in Belfast, and a lot of the work's kind of done. I can see there's a few more lights and some hover buses, whatever. But again, I'm not entirely sure what it would look like, but it just, to me, it looked promising. And the buses themselves, if this is Belfast, and if I do come to redesign the buses, or in future I need to know what buses look like, or if I'm doing like a large transport vehicle, there you go. I have a photograph of quite neat 3/4 view of a bus, a Translink Ulster bus, double decker as well. So maybe if I wanted to redesign this, I would maybe extend it, I don't know, put it on tracks, so on and so forth, while keeping the design for all the the value graphics and the window size, blah blah blah, all the same. So it's recognisable as an Ulster bus that everyone knows and loves and waits for 30 minutes late. This was around the corner from the Laganside bus centre, and I don't know what, I think it's a government logo, don't know what it is, maybe some finance, blah blah blah, like Invest NI. Anyway, but I quite like the honeycombs pattern of it. So it looked quite sci-fi. I don't know. I'll probably put it in the textures and come back to it some point. Just to show the Albert clock, because as I explained before, doing this whole idea that the old buildings are kept the same and looked after, kind of the Heritage Fund, or blah, 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 maybe they're encased in glass because the pollution level is so high in the city. Maybe there's acid rain, maybe the sky's clouded over, which gives me an idea. There you go. Anyway, okay. So okay, hypothetical. It's 2089. Resources are low. They've polluted the sky, the atmosphere so much. Acid rain and climate change have really taken hold. The sky's grown dim, which reminds me of a song. All buildings like this have to be kept clean, or kept away from the elements, e.g. the rain, and they're encased in glass. And that's why you don't see a lot of people on the street, because it is quite dangerous. And maybe the rain that comes down is very predictable, and comes down maybe 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and that's the time when nobody's allowed on the streets. Kind of like in hot countries, I mean, midday you don't go on the street because it's too goddamn warm. So maybe here you don't go on the street because it's too goddamn dangerous. Get your ass burnt. Anyway, moving on. Let's see some more photos of the clouds. Some more photo shots of that. That was very dark, but once again, for what I'm using it for, I could still get away with using it. So I'm not trying to be a professional photographer here. I'm just trying to get ideas and use them for my thumbnails. Okay, here is thinking of a shot, say a painting like compositionally. You got on the right hand side, you got your old building, the Albert clock, maybe it's covered in glass, blah blah blah, as I explained before. And then you got your road in the midground, and in the background you got this building. Now I could extend things out, open the windows, or expand the windows, put bridges, and maybe turn this into the trams, the suspended tramway. This is actually a station, so it would pull inside this little building. There's a hole here, people get off, just so it's safety, the acid rain, as we mentioned before, and then the train drives off through. There's some more shots, and there's another example of the old and new. I don't know what that is. It's actually beautiful, but I think a lot of people don't look up in Belfast a lot. I've noticed this. I mean, if you're walking around Belfast, as a kid I would always look down, but the more I look into this whole entertainment design and looking for inspiration, the more I look up. And it's a shame, because more people should look up, because, I mean, look at that. And that's George, I don't know what that is, but I'm sure there's loads of buildings around. And I do sometimes point them out to my friends, and they call me crazy, but whatever. Let's see. Yeah, I quite like that kind of view. It's Potter's Entry. I mean, it's all around the world. They have street names, and they kind of describe what the street maybe used to be. Maybe this Potter's Entry was the street that was a lot of potters and ceramic workers worked in. That's probably exactly what it is, but they kept the name. But I quite like this wee old-fashioned cast iron archway, and then you got your modern building in the background. You kind of look up towards it, and this, I think this looks very, very horrible. It's that in shops, the whole 1980s. Oh, it's modern. Oh, it makes it look jazzy. Blah blah blah. Whatever. I think it makes it look horrible. But as I say, trends return. So maybe, for example, those go down. Maybe they're bars to stop people getting in the window, or maybe there's something inside the building, and these are kind of like heat exchangers. The hot air, hot steam goes through them, and it cools it, kind of like a refrigerator, and goes back into the building. Just an idea. No, just no. Just some more views of kind of everyday life in Belfast. Have you noticed as well? All these photographs, I don't know if it's intentional, or just subconsciously doing them when I take them. I pay attention to see the kind of perspective lines going down in the buildings. So when I redraw these, I can find the perspective or the vanishing point quite easily, and when I extend buildings up, I can keep them looking right, in perspective, and extend things out and so on and so forth. See some more shots of that. Just more shots of alleyways and kind of potential to make it look very dark and gloomy and falling apart. See some shots of City Hall. So I want to get some shots of buildings that are very iconic to Belfast, i.e. City Hall, because when I redo them, keeping on the subject of old iconic buildings, historical buildings kept good, and all modern city metropolis is built up around it. City Hall might be a real eye catcher and ground it and say that yes, this is Belfast, but look where we're going. Okay, there's more shots of Belfast. This big pink. I don't know why they picked pink. I mean, for all colours for buses, pink, really? See, there's more shots there. I quite like this because, okay, you got your City Hall in the background, you got something going there, but for later on, maybe when designing it, I mean, look at this. I mean, I think a lot of people will probably wait until this drove off, but keep it there. Why not? You see this every day. It makes it real. Roads are going to have to be fixed. Builders are going to have to come out and fix them. There's again the high-vis jacket. There's the truck. There's the mobile generator or power hose. I don't know what that is. It looks a bit maybe a power hose. But yeah, it just grinds it. So keep it there. That's what you want. That's what I want. Now I saw this building and this just yes. It's simple. It's all these new buildings. If you look at them, let's see. I'll go back here. Let's see if I find something. Let's see. Yeah, here. Look at this. It's all glass construction. It's very well, what we think now is modern. But you go to this. It looks, like I was explaining before, like a Atlantic Wall beach defence. I mean, you can imagine idiots sticking out here, MG42s there, soldiers running into it. It just looks like a bunker. But I quite like it. Everything's very simple, blocky. I might kind of run. That's what I'm going to kind of run with. A kind of simple block. It kind of almost like 1980s build, but modern in a kind of way. So I'll see how that comes out. So I took some photographs of that. And funny story, that lady, I think she was thinking I was stealing her soul, because I was standing there ready to take a photograph, and she kept looking over at me really funnily, and of course I had to just smile and keep looking up. I was taking a photo of the building. Some more views of that bunker. And this, just another shop. I quite like the way this kind of worked out. It's going to be 2 floors, maybe a walkway up here, maybe extend that. I was saying about not a lot of people walk on the ground, so maybe that's where the rich and the famous walk, and this is where the blue collars live their meaningful lives or meaningless lives. Now these were actually, oh, for a sec. What happened there? Okay, these were up on top of this in Belfast, and I quite like them because they're big bronze statues, and it's just the shot of this expression, like one there's crying for mummy, blah blah blah, sucking his thumb. And here's a perfect example. If this is this is great. If this was at a city that's destroyed, the sky's gone dim. Okay, I can imagine like the compositionally, this is a shot. The sky's dim, things are all destroyed, very dark and grim, but you still kind of got the innocence of the child sitting there sucking his thumb. You maybe have acid erosion. You can see that there's acid erosion on the shoulders, and it's all stained and rusted. It's kind of kept unclean. And this, I'll just rotate this around. So there you go, perfect Whereas if we paint this, have this building gone, have these people here, and compositionally, this child, maybe there's a break in the clouds and there's some sunlight coming through, maybe in this heavy layer of cloud that destroyed the earth and made it very grim and dark. This child's looking up towards it, embracing it, blah blah blah. God, now I'm just getting really arty. This as well, this child could be on top of a building looking down over the destroyed city, so completely change the background. I'll take that completely away. And this also doubles as the texture. Look at the way the patina kind of falls and like pours down. You see this, the streaks on the statue. It's just some reference photos, maybe for a later date. Okay, and these aren't actually mine. I found them online. They were one of those 50 places you've got to see, derelict places, and they're not really my photographs, and I'll probably get a ball tune for showing them, but I think I want to share them with you quickly. If you look here, I think that just looks class. I don't know where the places were at the bottom, and I should have written them down, but I didn't. It's obviously an abandoned fun park. Wow, look at that. Amazing. Now this is a piece of concept art in itself. I just love it. Look, I think it's like a cooling tower. Sator Lana, I don't know, Light Journal, whatever. Well, that's put a link where it was. Just look at it. Imagine this. Maybe the scale of it is absolutely huge, but scale it down and just look at it. You imagine a figure maybe that big just walking through. It's an abandoned loose park. That. I think that's in Indonesia. My sister, she actually lived over there for a while, and she has some photographs of been around there. That just looks like out of Star Wars. Let's see, there's one here I think I really like. That abandoned ship, trees growing on top of it. It's a tree ship. There again, I think it's Chernobyl actually. That looks awesome. That is a bastard. Imagine going to work every day on top of there. Fuck that. That, love that. And that's that. So anyway, that's my kind of library all built up, and that's me going. I showed you all the photos that I took of Belfast. So that's my first-hand photographs taken care of. So I'll just show you some, just a few examples, and you've seen a lot of them. Well, actually, here I'll show you this now. This is the Copic marker example. This guy Scott Robinson. He's a designer that uses these markers, and let's see, I'll need to get some of them. But what they are see here, there's a range of markers, ranging from black all the way up to a kind of very, very light grey. How he uses them now, this computer's probably going to spaz out, you probably won't be able to see it very well. But just gradually going over the line work and colouring in, basically just rendering it. So that's the kind of method I'm going to be using on top of these photographs to change it, alter it, and so on and so forth. So just some examples of what I'm kind of going to do, what I hope to do. And it's two here. So these are by the guy Dan Levinsky. I can't remember, I can't pronounce his name, never could. But okay, you see here, I just love this. It's kind of grim, dark, very alien looking, industrial. See the rain, the sky's grim, big floating motorways above, and then down at the bottom it's just very grim. I love it. And even the kind of colour palette as well, the very blues and greens, and just looks very 80s to me, very neon, kind of Blade Runner, well, the old Blade Runner kind of thing. Yeah. So that's the first stage done, well, I think anyway. So what I'm going to do now is kind of sort all those photographs out into what I want to use, and kind of print them off and start working on them. Okay, so week one down.